December 26, 1980. The freezing fog of Rendlesham forest clung to the trees like a shroud. A U.S. Air Force security patrol was dispatched to investigate a suspected aircraft crash outside the nuclear weapons depot. But what they found wasn't a Soviet satellite. It was a triangular craft of black glass resting silently on the forest floor. Sergeant Jim Penniston approached, his hand trembling as he reached out to touch the inexplicable, warm surface. As his fingers brushed the strange symbols etched into the hull, a blinding flash engulfed the woods and his mind. Welcome to the Anomaly Archives. Today, we delve into the declassified files they fought so hard to keep hidden from you. For over 70 years, the official narrative surrounding Anomalous Aerial Phenomenon, or UAP, has been one of staunch denial. Citizens who reported sightings were often mocked, while whistleblowers faced the crushing weight of governmental retaliation. The United States led this campaign of silence, burying the truth deep within black-budget secret projects. But the United States was not the only player in this cosmic game, and other nations were far less willing to maintain the cover-up. In 1997, decades before the Pentagon's recent admissions, the government of Chile established the CFAA. This was an official, government-funded agency dedicated solely to the investigation of inexplicable aerial anomalies. France followed suit with the COMETA report, a comprehensive study by high-ranking military officials and scientists. Their conclusion was shocking. The extraterrestrial hypothesis was the most logical explanation for the phenomena. Why did the U.S. government vehemently deny what its allies were actively investigating? The answer lies in the declassified archives. Let's travel back to September 1947, just months after the infamous Roswell crash. General Nathan Twining, head of the Air Materiel Command, penned a secret memo that would change everything. In it, Twining explicitly stated, "The phenomenon reported is something real and not visionary or fictitious." He described objects demonstrating extreme rates of climb, maneuverability, and evasive action when sighted by friendly aircraft. This document, hidden for decades, proved that governmental acknowledgement of advanced technology existed since the dawn of the Cold War. Yet Project Blue Book, the Air Force's public investigation, was designed to debunk and dismiss. Witness testimony was routinely altered, radar data was destroyed, the truth was actively suppressed. Pilots who encountered these enigmatic crafts were faced with a grim choice: remain silent or lose their careers. Which brings us back to the chilling events of Rendlesham Forest, often called Britain's Roswell. RAF Bentwaters was a highly sensitive NATO base, housing a massive stockpile of tactical nuclear weapons. When an unidentified object breached their airspace, national security was immediately compromised. Deputy Base Commander Charles Holt recorded an audio tape as he led a team into the woods on the second night of the phenomenon. The declassified Holt memo describes a glowing, red, sun-like object moving through the trees before exploding into 5 white objects. But the most shocking revelation comes from Jim Penniston's initial encounter on night 1. After touching the craft's surface, Penniston was plagued by visions, a constant stream of ones and zeros flooding his mind. He wrote this binary code down in his notebook, a document that remained hidden for over 30 years. When finally translated by experts, the cryptic message contained coordinates to mysterious, ancient locations around the globe. It also contained a chilling phrase, exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance. Was this a message from extraterrestrial beings, or perhaps, as some theories suggest, time travelers from our own future? The UK Ministry of Defence launched a massive cover-up, seizing evidence and interrogating the airmen. Inexplicable radiation spikes were recorded at the landing site, documentary evidence that was buried deep within Modi vaults. It wasn't until the release of the highly classified Project Condign report years later that the truth began to bleed out. The Modi officially admitted that UAP existed, but tried to explain them away as buoyant plasma formations. But plasma formations don't leave physical landing gear marks, and they certainly don't beam binary codes into the minds of soldiers. The gap between the government's official explanations and the harrowing reality of witness testimony remains a chasm of deception. While the United Kingdom desperately tried to bury the Rendlesham files, another allied nation faced a far more terrifying, aggressive encounter. September 1976, the sprawling metropolis of Tehran, Iran. The night sky erupted with a blinding, multicolored light. Citizens flooded the emergency lines in sheer panic. In response, the Iranian Air Force scrambled 2 F-4 Phantom interceptor jets. As the first pilot closed in on the brilliantly flashing diamond-shaped craft, his entire instrument panel went dead. Communications failed. The weapons systems locked out. The UAP had instantaneously disabled a multi-million-dollar machine of war. The second F-4 approached. Suddenly, the UAP ejected a smaller, intensely glowing object directly at the jet like a missile. The pilot desperately attempted to fire an AIM-9 Sidewinder, but once again, the firing control panel completely lost power. The pilot prepared to eject, bracing for death, but at the last second, the glowing object pulled away, returning to the mother ship. This wasn't a fairy tale or swamp gas. This terrifying encounter is fully documented in a declassified report by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. The DIA memo explicitly stated the UAP displayed extraordinary maneuverability and possessed advanced technology far beyond human capability. The implication was chilling. The greatest military powers on Earth were utterly defenseless against these enigmatic forces. For decades, the global cover-up tightened. The files were sealed. The witnesses were silenced or discredited. But the phenomena didn't stop. It evolved, and eventually the secrecy began to crack under the weight of undeniable technological evidence. Fast forward to November 2004. 100 miles off the coast of Southern California, the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was conducting training exercises. The USS Princeton, a guided missile cruiser equipped with the most advanced Spy-1 radar system in the world, began detecting the impossible. Anomalous aerial vehicles, or AAVs, were dropping from 80 feet to sea level in a matter of seconds, a maneuver that would instantly vaporize a human pilot. They hovered just above the waves for hours, defying every known law of physics, aerodynamics, and propulsion. Commander David Fravor, an elite Top Gun graduate, leading the Black Aces squadron, was vectored to intercept the mysterious target. The weather was crystal clear. The sea was completely calm. As Fravor arrived at the coordinates, he looked down at the ocean surface. A patch of water was churning violently, and hovering 50 feet above it was a smooth, white object shaped exactly like a giant tic-tac. It had no wings, no rotors, and no visible means of lift. As Fravor began an aggressive descent, the object reacted. It mirrored his movements perfectly, spiraling up to meet him. It was an intelligent, tactical engagement. Suddenly, the tic-tac accelerated with a burst of impossible speed. Fravor later described it as shooting away like a bullet fired from a gun. It completely vanished from sight, but the terror had just begun. The Princeton's radar operator immediately radioed Fravor with chilling news. The object hadn't just fled. It had reappeared exactly at Fravor's highly classified CAP point, 60 miles away, in seconds. It knew their secret rendezvous location. It had cracked the military's encrypted communications, and it was waiting for them. Another jet managed to capture the infamous FLIR footage. The targeting pod locked onto the object, revealing its thermal signature. The video showed no heat plume, no exhaust, and a complete defiance of known aerodynamics, a craft not built by any nation on Earth. When the carrier returned to port, unnamed individuals arrived via helicopter. They confiscated all the data bricks. They erased the logs. The sailors were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. The classic protocol of silence and intimidation was deployed. For 13 years, the Tic-Tac incident remained a ghost story whispered in the dark corridors of the Pentagon. Until December 2017, when the dam of secrecy finally broke, and the New York Times published an explosive front-page expose. The article revealed the existence of AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, a highly classified Pentagon UFO study. Its former director, Luis Elizondo, had resigned in protest over the excessive secrecy and lack of action regarding these terrifying incursions. He orchestrated the declassification of 3 critical videos, the FLIR, gimbal, and GOFASD footage. The world finally saw the truth. In a historic moment, the Department of Defense officially verified the footage was real. The objects were officially designated as unidentified. This was the paradigm shift. The most powerful military on the planet admitting that vehicles of unknown origin operate with impunity in our skies. But the revelations didn't stop at fuzzy videos. Whistleblowers began stepping out of the deepest black sites. Intelligence officials like David Grush testified under oath before Congress, dropping the most explosive bombshell in modern history. He stated the United States possesses intact, anomalous vehicles, and a decades-long covert program has been recovering non-human biologics. The implications of Grush's testimony were staggering. He wasn't talking about lights in the sky. He was talking about a multi-generational crash retrieval operation. He alleged that private aerospace contractors were operating above congressional oversight, reverse engineering alien technology in deep black facilities. Corporations shielded from the Freedom of Information Act, hiding the greatest discovery in human history behind corporate trade secrets. But the United States wasn't the first to recover these anomalous vehicles. The roots of this cover-up stretch back much further than Roswell. Declassified documents suggest the first modern recovery happened in Magenta, Italy in 1933, under the regime of Benito Mussolini. Mussolini's secretive Cabinet RS-33 studied the craft, believing it to be a secret weapon from a rival European nation. When the Allies took Italy at the end of World War II, the Pope himself allegedly facilitated the transfer of the craft to the United States. The Vatican archives, famously impenetrable, may hold the key to the earliest interactions with non-human intelligence. As more whistleblowers come forward, the retaliation has become brutal. Careers destroyed, pensions threatened, and subtle campaigns of terror. The Men in Black are not just Hollywood fiction. They are the terrifying reality of intelligence operatives silencing the truth. Witnesses report having their homes raided, their families threatened, and their sanity systematically dismantled by unseen forces. But the psychological warfare is only half the battle. The physical toll of close encounters is a highly classified medical mystery. Declassified medical files from the DIA reveal that close proximity to UAPs causes bizarre, severe physiological damage. Witnesses suffer from unexplained radiation burns, sudden brain damage, and symptoms eerily similar to the infamous Havana syndrome. Are these injuries intentional attacks, or simply the byproduct of human biology interacting with incomprehensible propulsion systems? The deeper we look, the more bizarre the phenomenon becomes. It's not just about crafts in the sky, it's about what lies beneath the waves. Navy sonar operators routinely track unidentified submersible objects, or USOs, traveling at hundreds of knots underwater. These transmedium vehicles transition seamlessly from space to the atmosphere and into the crushing depths of the ocean without a splash. Are our oceans hiding massive subterranean bases? Are we sharing this planet with an intelligence that predates humanity? Or is the truth even more terrifying? Advanced theoretical physics suggests they might not be traversing space, but dimensions. Whistleblowers hint at the interdimensional hypothesis, the idea that these entities blade into our reality from a parallel timeline or higher dimension. This would explain their ability to pop in and out of existence, manipulate gravity, and seemingly alter the consciousness of the observer. At locations like Skinwalker Ranch, the phenomenon acts less like a machine and more like a malicious, trickster intelligence. Scientists sent by the Pentagon to study the ranch experienced the hitchhiker effect. The phenomenon followed them home. Poltergeist activity, terrifying apparitions, and sudden illness infected the families of the researchers thousands of miles away. We are forced to confront the chilling reality. We are dealing with something that deeply understands and manipulates human perception. The ontological shock of full disclosure, the sudden realization that we are not the apex predators of our own reality, is what the government fears most. They believe society would collapse, religion would shatter, financial markets would plummet into the abyss. But the dam is breaking. Congress has drafted the UAP Disclosure Act, attempting to legally pry the truth from the defense contractors. A silent war is currently raging in Washington, a battle between those who want the truth to be free and those who guard the deep black secrets. Why the sudden push for disclosure? Some insiders whisper of a ticking clock, a timeline we do not control. Are the phenomenon preparing for mass contact? Or is an impending global catastrophe forcing the hand of our shadow government? The declassified documents we've explored today are just a single drop in an ocean of lies. From the terrifying encounter at Rendlesham to the impossible physics of the Nimitz tic-tac, the evidence is insurmountable. They are here, they have always been here, and the greatest cover-up in human history is finally unraveling. What will happen when the final black veil is lifted? When we must finally accept our place in a crowded, incomprehensible universe? The answers lie hidden in the vaults, but as the brave whistleblowers have shown us, the truth cannot be buried forever. We must continue to demand transparency, we must question the official narratives, and we must keep our eyes on the skies. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the unknown. If this investigation opened your eyes, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Leave your theories in the comments below. Do you think the government is hiding crashed craft, or is the phenomenon something entirely different? Until next time, remain vigilant. The archives are never truly closed. This has been the Anomaly Archives. Goodbye.